I don't see enough rap battling these days, and it's pissing us off. Back in the day when me and the boys were hustling on the streets, we'd rap battle over anything. How do you decide who has to go and fetch the football kicked over the fence? Rap battle. How do we decide who gets the football we kicked under the car? Rap battle. How do we decide who gets the football? Listen, we played a lot of football and we had a lot of rap battles, alright, let's just leave it at that. Bottom line, rap battling was a thing and I loved it. I remember watching epic rap battles of history in its prime and memorising the lyrics the same day that the newest video would drop. This then spiraled into watching channels such as King of the Dot and Don't Flop, where hundreds of people would fill out an arena just to watch two rappers duke it out on stage. But if you really wanted to listen to the good stuff, you know that Snipes was where it was at.
I'm like a sniper. I aim straight for the heart or the head. I'm straight and direct. I might hide 2Ks that way. You'll know when I hit you as soon as you hit the ground.
In terms of films though, rap battling still hasn't really found its footing since the release of 8 Mile, a film that came out over a decade ago now. And it's not like I don't like 8 Mile, I mean I had street cred like everyone else, I knew all the words to the final battle, fuck a papa doc, fuck a clock, fuck you better rock.
It's a rock fact!
But the problem is that over the course of 18 years, rap battling has evolved. When 8 Mile came out, the internet was still in its early stages, but now with platforms like YouTube, rap battles can rack up to millions of views, and this has introduced a whole new audience to the medium. Enter Bodied, released in 2018, a comedy drama about a progressive grad student's rise in the rap battle scene. The film was released as an exclusive for YouTube's premium service, and was directed by Joseph Kahn. If that name doesn't ring a bell, that's probably because he's only made like 2 features that you've probably never seen, but he has been directing music videos since the 90s for huge artists like Eminem, Backstreet Boys, and Taylor Swift. He also made a gritty Power Rangers short film back in 2015, which is how I got introduced to his work. Having good relationships with the music industry clearly paid off for Kahn, since Eminem himself agreed to produce Bodied, and a couple of his songs actually pop up in the film's soundtrack. One of the main hooks of Bodied is that actual rap battlers are featured playing fictionalized versions of themselves. The script is even co-wrote by Alex Larson, otherwise known as Kid Twist in the battle community. In fact, apart from the lead, the majority of the cast is made up of well-established competitors, and this right away gives Bodied a sense of authenticity that blurs the lines between fiction and reality. As soon as the film starts, we're thrown right in the middle of a battle, and the verses are just as well wrote and hard-hitting as they would be in real life.
This motherfucker go online and Google food porn. As is known to you, porn. You so fat, when you tuck a gun in your waist, you need to use a fucking shoehorn. See, I just dug your grave so they could put your fat ass corpse into. It's so ironic, as much as you lift a fork, now they got a fork lift you.
From then on, we're introduced to Adam, a geeky and awkward graduate from Berkeley who's doing his thesis paper on the topic of battle rap. At first, his only intention is interviewing a local competitor, until he himself is challenged on the spot. And then this happens.
You clearly wish you had a darker brown skin tone. You're suffering from I want to be Down syndrome. And also, Down syndrome. You've been a dad since you were still a teen, but it's not how it really seems. That kid is not your son. He doesn't have a single Billie Jean. You spit all this gun talk of a violent mind at work, but got nothing to back it up with. That's a Miley Cyrus twerk.
As Adam gets a small taste of how it feels to be in the spotlight with a crowd hyping him up, he slowly becomes infatuated with the feeling of breaking down an opponent, and as his ascent in the rap battle world begins, his personal life slowly starts to spiral out of control. So let me just talk about the lead in this film for a second, Caleb Worthy, who absolutely kills it. This guy is a Disney actor of all things, and in the theme of blurring the lines between fiction and reality, Bodied makes sure to call him out for it.
Yo, who the fuck set me up with this little homo? This kid look like he should be doing Disney promos.
But what is so impressive about his performance is that he is able to transform himself from a gawky millennial afraid to offend anyone into a vicious rapper willing to cross any line to win over the crowd in a battle. It's so good that you just believe every single minute of it, and for the actor not being a rapper himself in real life, he pulls off some of his flaws insanely well.
Cause actual G's, you ain't kill none. So shut the fuck up and chill some. Just cause you look like Kim Jong-un doesn't mean you're ill, son.
Even though Bodied is primarily a comedy, it also touches on serious themes such as racial stereotyping and where the line can be drawn in battle rapping. if there even is one. We're living in a more politically correct time than ever in the world, and rap battling has always been a competition for who can top their opponent in saying the most offensive thing, no matter how outrageous it is. But unlike 8 Mile, it isn't like every single battle is some heated rivalry between two gang members. Bodied instead shows a side of the subject where two battlers can just sit down and have a beer after verbally destroying each other, and I think that's a really interesting side that hasn't been explored before. I have to give props to Joseph Korn's approach to visualising the battles as well. This could have just been done in a typical shot reverse shot sort of way where the writing does the heavy lifting in these scenes, however Korn doesn't settle for that. Like his music videography, he goes the extra mile to make sure that the verses are as captivating to watch as they are to listen to. The camera will swing wildly, like it's caught in the middle of a boxing match. Typography will appear to visually represent a rapper's thought process. It's like we're not just watching a rap battle, but we're seeing a figmental playground where the lyricist is in charge of what the audience gets to see. It's just really cool filmmaking in my opinion, and sets Bodied apart from its contemporaries. All of this culminates in the last 40 minutes, creating one of the most intense third acts that I've seen in recent memory. The only one comparing in my mind being the final concert scene in Whiplash. After Adam has lost everything he once held dear, he attends one last event and lays it all on the line against one of his only friends left, and it is as jaw-dropping as it is heartbreaking to watch. I'm not going to spoil what happens or what is said, but I would recommend watching this film just to see this sequence. It had that much of an impact on me when I first saw it, and it represents everything that I love about this film. Bodied isn't a perfect film by any means. There's parts that feel slightly uneven, and the in-your-face style might rub some people the wrong way, I guess. But one thing it definitely isn't is boring. I think it proves that rap battling could even be an entire genre of its own one day if the right approach is taken. It feels unique and fresh whilst also making sure to address important topics, and to have a heart behind its characters. If you've made it this far and still aren't sold, then fair enough. But if anything that I've mentioned has remotely made you curious, please check this film out, as not nearly enough people have seen it since it released. Fingers crossed that you'll find out why I believe Bodied to be the ultimate rap battle film. Thank you for watching. There's a lot of fucked up things going on in the world right now, but I hope everyone's keeping safe. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing and leaving a like on the video. And I will see you next time.